word problems involving finding unknown numeric quantities. Now, we already saw an example of an applied word problem called geometric word problems. This is the next type of word problem. Now, unlike geometric word problems, we won't be able to draw a picture or a sketch with these. Now, I'll go ahead and put up the steps that we already talked about. And again, if you'd like to copy these down, you can pause and take a moment to copy. But these were discussed earlier on the geometric word problem lecture. And I'll be using those steps again. Let's do our example. Steve caught 7 more fish than Dave on their recent fishing trip. Together they caught 45 fish. How many fish did each person catch? Now, I hope the game warden didn't catch them, because 45 fish seems like an awful lot to me. Hopefully they kept within their limits. Let's try to follow step 1. I read the problem carefully, and this is pretty easy to decide what must be found. We need to find how many fish did Steve catch and how many fish did Dave catch. Now, I don't think I'll be able to use a sketch with this problem. That's the difference between this and a geometric problem. So let's try to go to step 2. Let's try to choose one variable and write down what it represents. So I've got Steve and Dave catching fish. So for the time being, I'll write Steve and Dave. Let's see. Steve caught 7 more fish than Dave. Okay. So why don't we let D equal the number of fish that Dave caught. If Dave caught D fish and Steve caught 7 more fish than Dave, well, then Steve would have caught 7 plus D. So 7 plus D equals the number of fish that Steve caught. Now notice, I'm not going to use D and S as my variables. I want to use one variable. My one variable is D. So Dave caught D fish, Steve caught 7 plus D fish. Okay. Now, we want to write an equation using that given information and the variable that we just defined in step 2. Well, let's see. Together they caught 45 fish. Well, if Steve caught 7 plus D fish and Dave caught D fish, then Steve's fish plus Dave's fish should equal the total. So my equation, 7 plus D, which is Steve's fish, plus Dave's fish equals 45. So we've got the equation, and now we need to solve the equation, and we'll make sure that we've answered the problem, and then we'll check our work. Let's solve this equation. Well, notice this is a linear equation. Again, I know it's linear because all my variables have a power of 1. So let's see if we can combine like terms. Well, 1D plus 1D is 2D. Now we want to solve for D, so I'll subtract 7 on both sides. 2D equals, what's that, 38. And then to solve for D, we'll divide both sides by 2. Now I got to ask myself, am I done with the problem? Well, what does D represent? Well, I wrote it down here. D represented the number of fish that Dave caught. So Dave caught 19 fish. Well, how many fish did Steve catch? Well, Steve caught 7 plus D. And D was 19. So Steve caught 19 plus 7, or 26 fish. So we're fairly positive that we have the right answer. We've got D equal 19, which was the number of fish that Dave caught. But let's just get the original problem out in front of us, and we'll just check to make sure. So, did Steve catch 7 more fish than Dave? Well, we had Dave catching 19 and Steve catching 26. Yes, in fact, Steve caught 7 more than Dave. And together, did they catch 45 fish? Well, 9 and 6 is 15. 2, 3, 4. So everything checks out with the original problem. Dave caught 19, Steve caught 26, and together they caught 45. So if you want to practice, 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 and eventually you'll get to be a professional at these.